Welcome to the Economist in Your Ear podcast. In the complex world of international diplomacy, how much do personal desires and accolades truly influence the biggest geopolitical decisions, especially when war and peace hang in the balance? Today, we're unpacking a fascinating, maybe a provocative idea from an article in The Economist. It suggests Europe might try to leverage a certain American president's, well-known desire for a Nobel Peace Prize, to help get a better outcome for Ukraine. But we want to go beyond just the surface level here. We'll offer a critical interpretation, maybe challenge some assumptions, and bring in some deeper context to really understand the genuine merits, but also the significant pitfalls of this kind of diplomatic strategy. So let's explore this. The article really spotlights how former President Trump has reportedly been quite fixated on the Nobel Peace Prize. These intriguing reports, right, like him cold calling Norway's finance minister. Apparently tariffs and the prize came up. It really seems to underscore a deep personal ambition that gets tangled up with global politics.
It's definitely a compelling angle on the surface, this interplay between very personal desires and these incredibly high-stakes diplomatic situations. And we've seen foreign leaders understand this. You probably remember Ukrainian President Zelensky's visit to Washington. He gave Mr. Trump a golf club from a wounded Ukrainian veteran.
Right, that was quite a specific gift.
Exactly, and it fits a pattern. You see thoughtful gifts, maybe a private jet from Qatar, Mont Blanc pens, leaders looking for influence. And European leaders have certainly been spending a lot of time in D.C. recently trying to nudge Mr. Trump towards, firmer backing for Ukraine. So this whole Nobel Prize idea as a potential motivator, it's definitely grabbed attention. It speaks to a very human, very public desire for that kind of recognition.
Exactly. And the Economist suggests that, despite any public denials, Mr. Trump desperately wants this recognition. The thinking is he sees the prize as a powerful validation, like proof his deal-making skills work beyond business, that they apply in this more esteemed world of international diplomacy. He's even claimed credit, hasn't he, for ending various conflicts, describing himself as a peacemaker-in-chief, I think the article says.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of a claim, as The Economist puts it, is worth much more than the medal's weight in gold in his mind. It's framed as this incredibly powerful incentive. So the core arguments in The Economist is, it's quite bold. Europe could theoretically dangle the prospect of a shiny medal and an Oslo banquet, sort of a carrot, right, to lure Mr. Trump onto their side regarding Ukraine. They even suggest Europe could loudly proclaim they are backing Mr. Trump for the prize, send endorsement letters, drop hints like, we've spoken to Oslo. It sounds clever, maybe a little cynical, appealing to a specific personality.
But what's immediately crucial to grasp here is that while it might sound like a shrewd tactic, it is mostly theater. You see, the Norwegian Nobel Committee operates with very strict independence. They're deliberately shielded from political pressure. And here's a really critical procedural point. Nominations for this year's prize, they closed way back on January 31st.
Oh, right. Months ago.
And their deliberations are kept secret for 50 years. So any public endorsements or, dangling the prize right now, it carries basically zero procedural weight. Actually, this strategy, if they tried it, could really backfire. Imagine if the committee pointedly awarded someone else. It would make that whole public lobbying effort look completely ineffective. And even the article itself flags this, right? It gives that crucial warning. But beware the pitfalls of photo-op peacemaking.
That is a powerful warning. So if the Nobel Committee is independent and the nominations are closed, what exactly are those pitfalls of photo-op peacemaking the article mentions? Going beyond just the look of it, what are the real substantive dangers here?
Well, a key question that comes up is the risk of what the article calls a shoddy peace. It notes that Mr. Trump, who's maybe not always focused on the details, might instinctively go for the headline, the big war ended announcement. But that could potentially leave Russia's Vladimir Putin basically in charge of the fine print, the actual terms. Mm-hmm. And that could mean a resolution that sacrifices long-term stability just for a quick result. Ukraine, they desperately need solid security guarantees, a just outcome, not just a fast end to the fighting. Pursuing that headline could seriously compromise the actual substance of the peace, maybe leaving behind really dangerous instability.
And this fear, this idea of a photo-op peace, it feels amplified by Mr. Trump's track record, doesn't it? His approach to diplomacy. His positions on Ukraine have, they've sometimes shifted dramatically, whiplashed, as you said. We've seen him float territorial concessions, then days later say talks don't need a ceasefire first. He ruled out U.S. ground troops, but then kind of mused about U.S. air support. And he's pledged security guarantees, but the details still very much up in the air.
Exactly.
Independent reporting often calls this diplomacy erratic, maybe optics-driven, and that naturally worries allies who need consistency, predictable support. Meanwhile, Europe's red lines seem pretty clear, pretty consistent. Nothing about Ukraine without Ukraine. And the absolute need for robust, verifiable security guarantees. So that gap between Europe's strategic goals and the potential for a quick, headline-grabbing peace, it seems quite stark.
Which leads us to, I think, a really crucial point about potentially incentivizing a bad peace. History gives us some sobering examples here. Think about premature peace prizes that haven't aged well. Barack Obama in 2009, maybe Abiy Ahmed before the Tigray War broke out.
Right, those are difficult cases in hindsight.
Designing foreign policy around the lure of a headline risks trading durability for speed. You might lock in gains for the aggressor, basically rewarding illegal conquest, and that erodes deterrence long term. The danger isn't just a fleeting photo op. It's a settlement that could normalize territorial acquisition by force. That's a huge strategic risk.
And we've seen some trial balloons recently.
We have. Recent Trump suggestions, like territory trades or maybe shelving NATO membership for Ukraine, those track very closely with core demands from the Kremlin. A ceasefire without strong enforcement or a settlement that rewards occupation, that would be inherently unstable and strategically corrosive for Europe's security down the line. So the guardrails for any potential peace deal have got to be explicit. Absolutely no forced territorial concessions. Clear, verifiable withdrawal steps. And crucially, automatic penalties, those snapback sanctions, if Russia cheats. The stakes are just too high for something superficial.
That's a really important distinction. The risk of a peace that doesn't hold, that actually makes things worse long term. So, okay, if the Nobel isn't the real lever here, and trying to use it carries these significant risks, what is Europe's actual power? How can they influence things effectively without falling into that trap, without rewarding superficial gestures, or worse, incentivizing an unstable outcome? What does a more grounded playbook look like?
Well, if the aim is to maybe harness vanity productively, the strategy has to tie any credit directly to concrete things. Irreversible, verifiable steps. Actions that genuinely improve security and stability for Ukraine on the ground. Europe can promise loud public credit, not lobbying for the prize, but genuine recognition for specific milestones.
Like what, for example?
Things like prisoner of war exchanges, the return of abducted children. These are huge humanitarian steps, but they also build maybe a tiny bit of fragile trust. Or think about IAEA-supervised nuclear safety measures at Zaporizhia. That de-escalates a massive immediate risk.
Intangible things.
Exactly. Protected humanitarian corridors, third-party monitoring with those vital automatic snapback sanctions for any violations. These are milestones that deliver real, measurable change. So the playbook becomes give the recognition, the optics, when and only when those concrete milestones are actually achieved. That's how you ensure real progress, not just empty promises.
That makes sense. Tying recognition to concrete results. But digging a bit deeper, beyond those specific actions, what's Europe's most fundamental leverage in all this, their core strength?
Europe's real leverage isn't flattery. It's the backstop. It's the commitment to Ukraine's long-term security, potentially even if American policy shifts. And that means security guarantees have to rest on real, robust, self-sufficient industrial capacity. We're talking air defense systems, 155mm artillery shells, long-range strike capabilities, proper troop training.
The hardware, the logistics.
Precisely. Credibility in international relations. It grows when the factories are running, when budgets are committed, when delivery schedules are locked in and actually met. That industrial strength, plus unwavering political will, that's what really shapes Moscow's thinking. That's what creates real deterrence, not the opinions of the Norwegian Nobel Committee. So a more grounded playbook for Europe, it would be to codify those security guarantees first, make them ironclad, then offer praise later only when genuine progress is made. This includes making no territorial concessions, a joint public red line backed by those snapback penalties. So any quick win that violates that red line becomes politically costly for everyone involved. And crucially, throughout this whole thing, keep Ukraine's agency front and center, echoing that consistent EU line, the path to peace cannot be decided without Ukraine.
Okay, this feels like a really critical shift in perspective. So for you, the listener, try and make sense of all this. What are the genuine signals to watch for? The signs of real progress or maybe peril once you strip away all the Nobel chatter in the political theater? How do we tell the difference?
Yeah, how do we discern true progress in this very complicated picture. I'd say keep a really close eye on the actual text of any security guarantees that might come out of Washington. Are the enforcement bits specific? Are the rearmament commitments funded? Are they time-bound? Or are they vague promises?
And details matter.
Immensely. Also, watch Trump's consistency, his public statements on ceasefire preconditions, on territory. If it whipsaws back and forth, that's your leading indicator of a photo op push, something that might lack real substance. Also, monitor European production schedules, air defense, ammunition. Are they meeting their promised deliveries? If those schedules slip, it means weaker leverage. Simple as that.
For actions speak louder than words there.
Definitely. And finally, pay very close attention to Kremlin demands. Are they softening at all on recognizing occupied regions, or on their effective veto over Ukraine's future alliances? If the answer is no, if their core demands remain rigid, then this whole idea of Nobel leverage is frankly a fantasy. And the Nobel calendar itself is that constant reminder, isn't it? Nominations close January 31st. The committee doesn't take instructions from EU capitals, so treat any chatter about, oh, we spoke to Oslo, treat it as political theater, because that's likely what it is.
So, as we wrap this up, reflecting on this intriguing but ultimately really complex proposal, it leaves us with a thought, doesn't it? In this intricate dance of international relations, how do we best balance that potent allure of personal recognition, which is clearly a factor, with the urgent need for durable, ethical solutions? Solutions that genuinely serve the greater good, and not just a fleeting headline or a moment in the spotlight. Thanks for listening. Follow us to stay updated with the latest insights on The Economist every day, and don't forget to like, comment, and share.